future visible. You're at Bevel State.
The sound of Walker County on 101.5 is WDXB HD3 Pelham, W286BM Jasper, an iHeart radio station. Listen on the free iHeart radio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good.
You're listening to Live at 9 with James Phillips, presented by Young Jewelers on WJLX.
But no.
And good morning. It's Live at 9 with James Phillips here on WJLX. And let me get to our little window here. And I want to tell everybody, if you're listening on the air on WJLX or on the stream, everything should be good. If you're watching on YouTube, everything is great. There's a huge Facebook outage this morning that we can't control. There's an outage all over the country that's causing issues, so we cannot get on the WJLX Facebook page to do the live stream. What we will be doing is doing everything as normal here. And then a little bit later, when Facebook's got their situation ironed out, we will post the interview and share it for everybody to see as well. So Jason Akins is my guest this morning. We've been trying to get together for going on about 3 weeks now, and it was my fault the first week. I was sick. The second week, you got sick. So really nobody's fault on either one. And then we make it in today. So it's good to have you here, man.
It's good to be here.
Jason Akins running for Walker County Sheriff, and we are getting very close to the end of this thing.
Yes.
Runoff is set for next Tuesday. And it's you and JC Poe. And before we get started, I just want to say JC was here 3 weeks ago, so he's had his chance to talk. Now we've got you here. Both of you guys, I think, are incredible individuals.
Thank you.
And it's just up to the people to decide which one is going to be the next sheriff of Walker County.
Right.
And you guys had a little, I guess, debate forum earlier this week, and I thought it was a good showing by both men to show that you may be running against each other, but you can still treat each other with respect, for sure.
Yes, and that was really kind of a forum of taking questions and offering solutions and just trying to work through things. It wasn't a point counterpoint or anything like that. So I felt like it went well. I felt like there was a lot of good substantive things discussed. You know, it got a little heated at the end, but I think we both kind of needed that.
Yeah, probably so. And it didn't get so heated that you thought you guys were going to go to blows at any point.
No.
But I did think maybe a UFC fight on the lawn of the Walker County Courthouse would be the way to decide the sheriff's race, you know?
Well, I mean, we could look at that.
You've been here before through the primary and went through your history, you know, what you've done, your family, things like that. Today I wanted to focus just more on, as many specifics as possible. It's hard for somebody who hasn't been in that building in a while to know exactly what's going on. But I think you've got a good plan in place that you're ready and confident about. So just tell us a little bit about some of the things. I think there's two big discussions that have gone on during the primary. One is experience and possibly lack of experience. Mm-hmm. I think that's been something that people have talked about a lot. And then also, I think, and there may be more than two that are have been hot button issues, but I also think ability to communicate with county commission has been something that people have talked about a lot.
Yes.
And then I'll let you kind of go into some other things that you think have been important, but basically give us some of your thoughts on those things and some of your plans that you have for if you would be sheriff.
Right. Well, and and I'll add to that. I think longevity.
That was the other thing I was thinking is also longevity, and that it's such a situation. We've had talks of it could take 8 years to clean it up, 4 years to clean it up, 1 year to clean it up. Like it's just kind of all over the board there, and you can give your thoughts on that too.
Absolutely. And no one I don't care what they tell you. It may sound good, but no one can guarantee you results. You can't guarantee results on if you're going to get the clothes clean when you put them in the washing machine.
Right, that's true.
So they're not going to be able to guarantee you this is going to happen on this timeline, because there are the things known, which are varied in different degree, and there are the things unknown, and there are the things that are yet to come. So, not to sound philosophical or anything, but, there's a lot there. And, I know it's not going to take 8 years. Someone had said that I actually said that, and I've never said that in my life.
Right.
No.
I know in the discussion that we had last time, I don't think there was a time period discussed from you.
No, I'm not, and I'm not going to put a time period on it, because the way I look at it, and this is just the way my mind works. This is who I am. I look at it from the standpoint of it has to be done right, and to be done right, typically something like that has to be done carefully. I believe just you talking with, since we're kind of into this, talking about a plan. If you take something like the manpower situation, staffing, which is terrible. I don't know that people really realize how bad, low staffed that department is. And it's not just, you think of deputies because there have been a lot of people who are like, well, I can't get anybody out,
right,
or it takes so long to get them out. It's a very bad situation there. And you've got guys, because I've talked to them, who are working 13, 16 hours. And some of these guys are young guys, young families. So it's a tough situation. And then you look at the jail, and that's something that, I've talked a lot about, because that's where my experience was. But you better get that thing under control.
Yeah.
You better get it staffed, or you're going to wake up and the feds are going to be right on top of you. Because that's one of the constitutional duties of a county sheriff, is carrying custody of people accused of crimes or people charged with crimes. The other is to carry out the lawful orders of the court. So, you better get that under control. People are going to die. Under the best of circumstances, heart attack or what have you.
Right.
Some can be prevented, some can be helped, some can't. It's just life. But if you don't have a good handle on what's going on in there, and I mean every day, I'm talking about all 3 shifts. I'm talking about, well, right now they have 2 shifts, I believe. You could end up in a very, very bad situation. We're in a bad situation.
Yeah, but it could be even worse.
It could be even worse. It could be even worse. So, whoa.
I don't know what that was.
Wow.
There's a lot of noise going on out there. We got people cutting the grass, and then I don't know what that was. So.
Ooh, the bloop. So, for someone to say, okay, I'm going to go in and get it done in X amount of days, or in 6 months, 2 years, I'm not going to say they can't. Heck, I mean, anything's possible.
Right.
But
in a perfect scenario, that might be the case.
In a perfect scenario, that might be the case. But it's not only do you want to fix some of the things that are broken or damaged, you also want to do it in a way that is sustainable, for the future. And so I look at it from the standpoint of there are things that I know. And there's much as far as the department goes, and there's much that either myself or no one else will know until they get there.
Right.
And then you can do what I kind of refer to as EAA: evaluate, analyze, and adjust.
Yeah.
And that's something that you have to be careful with, because you have people telling you things, and some of them mean well. Some of them are trying to, affect your decision making. So, I think it's important to evaluate individuals and your policies, as far as not your standard operating procedure policies, those are set, but just, okay, what has been changed? What can we do differently? is this person in the best position that they can be in to where they can serve the county best and thrive professionally, or would they be better over here? And you've got to talk to the employees and be willing to listen.
Right.
Because, that's the most frustrating thing for frontline officers is when they have a administrator, a sheriff, a chief, or whatever that really doesn't listen to them, and then it kind of puts up a wall in between, and you see that in a lot of businesses. So they have to feel like they can talk to you, and that it will be kept not only in confidence, but they will be listened to and respected, and not retaliated against, or anything like that. So, and I believe that's something I'm very good at.
Yeah.
I truly do. I believe I'm good at that. I'm good at dealing with different kinds of people, and finding a way to bring everyone together.
Right.
And that's just always been, when I worked there, that was something that I spent a lot of time doing.
That ability probably should lead us into talking about maybe the relationships throughout the county, and that's something that has been a discussion of strained relationships between different areas of the county, different departments, and you say one of your strengths is to be able to reach out to other people that may not be completely in agreement with you. What can you say to that?
Well, I find it best when doing something like that. You have to know where you stand, know how far you're willing to go, and how as far as protecting your department, so that you're taking care of your people. But I don't go at it with ego,
Right.
or anything like that. To me, that's just a waste of time, everybody's time and effort. So I look at it as a partnership, and that we need to look at these other chiefs. Just talking about the law enforcement right now, these other chiefs in these municipalities and their officers, they need to be treated with respect, and they need to treat us with respect, of course, too.
Right.
It's a mutual thing. So, and I've been talking to some chiefs already, and I just feel like, hey, we are all, you may be in Sumiton or Parrish or Carmen, whatever. That's still in Walker County. We're dealing with the same issues.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of the county. Well, we only go into the unincorporated areas and that's it. No, things go much better when we have cooperation and consideration for each other, and we assist. So
much like the sheriff's office, most of those municipalities and their departments are short-staffed as well. So you're constantly having to overlap each other.
I had a funny encounter, and I don't think he'd mind me calling his name out. Danny Woodard down at Parrish, and I've known Danny since we were kids. But I was talking to him kind of about my approach to things, and I said, we're pretty low staffed right now at the sheriff's office. And he said, hey man, I'm very low staffed in Parrish.
Right.
I said, well, bingo, we're in the same bucket. And a lot of these folks are in that situation. So what makes sense to me is to have mutual aid agreements with every municipality, to where it's like, okay, if we have an officer and he's got to go answer a call, especially one that's going to, could be problematic.
Right.
Because you got to think of officer safety. Hey, do you have someone available that could go with them?
Right.
Or, I had this just the other day. I went by the Eldridge Children's Home to talk to them, and they were telling me a story about a break-in they had that went on for like 45 minutes, at least, maybe an hour. And the county just did not have someone they could send.
Right, because they may have had somebody on the other side of the county.
They were on the other side of the county dealing with something,
Yeah.
backed up several calls deep, and they just couldn't get there. So I said, well, you know what? To me, the simple answer in that would have been contact Carbon Hill, see if they have anyone close that they can get there till we can get there. Let's stabilize the situation.
Right.
And the same goes for us. If I'll keep using Parrish as an example. If they called us and said, hey, we don't have anyone on duty, but we think somebody's breaking into the Dollar General, could you guys get out there?
Right.
Well, if we got someone available, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming out. We're going to back you up. Or, And all that is that, there's a legal framework for all that, but to me, it makes zero sense for us not to be doing that, because one, it serves the citizens better, and two, it creates a safer work environment for the officers, and three, it just promotes unity and better relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, I feel very good about that, and I feel like I can deliver that.
Now, you mentioned, you talked about law enforcement relationships. What about the relationship with the county commission? Because that's been an issue that's been ongoing with the current sheriff.
Yes.
Where do you feel that some changes can be made there, and some fences mended, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity to start off on a fresh foot. The commission and the current sheriff have, I would say, the relationship obviously has devolved. So I would be in a good position to start off fresh, like I said. But I already have a good relationship personally with several of them. Now, that doesn't always translate into professional,
Right.
Because there are going to be things that I don't agree with where I've got to hold the line.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it. And they're going to be the same way, but we can do that in a way of mutual respect, and communication is the key. I mean, you can tell someone the same thing, two different people, and one, they'll understand and be like, okay, well, I disagree with you there. Can't do that, but I'm going to keep working with you. And the other one, you just drove a wedge.
Right.
So communication is the key, and they've got to see that you're not trying to, because they have responsibilities. They've got the roads they hear about constantly.
Right.
They've got to see that you're not trying to in any way go around them, undermine them, or work against them, and publicly. That you've got to be able to sit down in good faith.
Yeah. In
good faith, that's the key. And on my side of the coin, I've got to look at the budget, and that's something, I kind of think of it in the same way I would look at a business budget. Someone said, well, you haven't managed, multi-millions. I said, no, but I've managed several $100,000, and I can assure you, the margins are closer.
Right.
They're tighter.
Yes.
Especially when it's not the government's money.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
When it's the government's money, yeah, that's people just think differently. But when
they've got a lot more to waste, obviously, watching television.
You're still going to get paid.
Yeah.
If I was managing the money, you may not keep your job eventually.
Right.
But you're still going to get paid. Where I come from, you've got to watch everything. You've got to watch operations, what you do, and you may still mess up. You may still have a bad guy in there or something like that. But if you're not careful, you're going to not get paid.
Right. Yeah.
So looking at it from that standpoint, I would request 2 audits, one financial and one equipment, right off the bat.
Right.
That way we can really see unencumbered where we are. There's no doubt about anything financially. The audit for the equipment is just to know what all we have and where it is.
Right.
There are, at this point right now, I don't know the current state of the sheriff's department's vehicles, the fleet.
Right.
But anything that needs to be sold and could be sold, we need to get on with it.
Yeah.
And if I'm speaking out of turn because I don't know exactly where we are on that with vehicles. But that encompasses everything. Competitive wages will be one of the main topics. I don't think we're going to be able to get there simply by demanding it.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Because currently we're somewhere between 53 and 55% of the county budget for the sheriff's office, and they're just not going to go any higher. Because that's impacting the roads.
Yeah, because they have to operate other departments as well.
They have to operate other departments as well, so they're just not going to go any higher on that. And I understand. I think it's incumbent upon me and actually just completely required that I have to look at that and sit down and, and I don't mind calling in a financial expert if that's what it takes.
Right.
Whatever it takes to get the job done, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I don't look at it from, well, this is my authority and my ego and I'm in charge. No, man, I don't care about any of that crap.
Right.
I want to get the job done to get it done right.
Yeah.
And then we can all go home.
Right. I like that.
So I'm not beyond calling in someone in finance, say, hey, what do you see here too?
Right.
But I think we've got to look at finding a way to reallocate financial resources, and I have looked at over the budget. And I've looked at some of our labor cost, and I believe that's possible.
Yeah.
I do believe there is money there that can be saved without compromising the service to the citizens by even more than what it is now.
Right.
So I do feel confident in that, and I believe that money can be used to help out a little bit on pay.
Right.
And I would be within my legal right to do that as long as I didn't go out of budget.
Right.
So that I think I look at the approach, and like I said, I think it just comes from my background. As far as business, I mean, when you're scrapping and begging for every dollar you can and all that, and without having all that money behind you,
right,
or anybody to back you up, you learn to
be able to make ends meet somehow.
You better find a way.
Yeah.
You better find a way. So, I think by doing that, though, I think that will show good faith with a commission, and then they're going to have to look at it from their end and do what they can.
Right.
And that is something that people are already aware of. That officers, and not just officers, but everybody down there is underpaid.
Right. Definitely so.
Which a lot of county workers are underpaid. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But at the sheriff's department, because of what they have to deal with, they are vastly underpaid.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Jason, it's the bottom of the hour, so I want to take a break real quick, hear from our sponsors. We got plenty more to talk about. It's going to be a quick break today since we played some extra spots at the beginning due to the Facebook outage. I do want to remind everybody we got Jason Akins here. He's a candidate for Walker County Sheriff. The runoff is going to be this coming Tuesday, and today we are having some technical issues. Facebook is down all over the place, but we'll be sharing this interview to Facebook later today as well. Let's take a break real quick, and we'll be right back on Live at 9 with James Phillips on WJLX.
Young Jewelers. That name has been a part of Jasper for a long, long time. As a matter of fact, for 3 generations and over 70 years, Young Jewelers has been located in downtown Jasper, striving to earn your loyalty with quality and customer service. Young Jewelers has set the standard in diamonds, jewelry, and gifts. You can afford to have a diamond from Young Jewelers. Our friendly staff can assure you of that, and you're always greeted with a smile and a genuine concern for your needs. Whether it's custom design work or diamonds from one of the name brand vendors, a consultation at Young Jewelers will have you feeling confident you've made the right choice. Young Jewelers, located across from City Hall on 19th Street and online at youngjewelers.com.
If you're craving great food in a place that feels just right, it's time to head to Jake's on 4th in downtown Jasper. From stacked made-to-order burgers to hearty favorites fresh off the grill, every dish at Jake's is cooked with care and full of flavor. It's comfortable, relaxed, and always welcoming. Whether you're meeting friends, enjoying a casual dinner, or just want a laid-back spot with great atmosphere, Jake's on 4th delivers every time. Located at 1810 4th Avenue South of downtown Jasper, Jake's is open Wednesday through Saturday with lunch from 11 to 3:30 and dinner 5 to close. Jake's has great food, an easygoing vibe, and it's a place you'll want to come back to. Jake's on 4th, fine dining done the Walker County way.
Hi guys, I'm Dr. Martin Roberts, owner of Jasper Veterinary Clinic. 3 years ago when I set out to open my own clinic, Pinnacle was my bank of choice to help that dream become a reality. Recently, when we needed to expand and had the opportunity to acquire property adjoining to ours, I made one call to Wayne and he set those wheels in motion. If you have banking needs, give Pinnacle a call.
Hello everyone, I'm Drake McKenzie from All South Land and Timber. We've been banking with Pinnacle Bank for over 25 years. The customer service at Pinnacle Bank is first class. We highly recommend banking with Pinnacle Bank for all of your financial needs.
I'm Robin Reed Allen, Chairman of the Board of Pinnacle Bank. Come see our team and make Pinnacle Bank your bank too.
Pinnacle Bank, member FDIC.
The sound of Walker County on 101.5 is WDXB HD3 Pelham, W286BM Jasper, an iHeart radio station. Listen on the free iHeart radio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good.
You're listening to Live at 9 with James Phillips, presented by Young Jewelers on WJLX.
And we are back on Live at 9 with James Phillips. I want to thank all of our sponsors, especially Jake's on 4th and Young Jewelers. We thank you guys for being our title sponsors each day on Live at 9. Joining us today, we got Jason Akins. And that's one thing we didn't do. At the very beginning, I did want to say, can you please say your name slowly and spell it and let everybody know you've never been involved with the being the superintendent of the Walker County Board of Education or anything like that?
I had no. Akins. A-K-I-N-S.
Like I'm aching today.
Yeah. I used to tell people that, like Claude Akins, Sheriff Lobo, but
right.
Nobody younger than us knows who I'm talking about anymore.
That's barely in my level, too.
That's barely at your level, yeah. Golly. Man.
And you spell it A-K-I-N-S, correctly?
That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Well, good. I've been spelling it right for a while then.
Man, you usually get things right.
And have you ever been involved with the Walker County Board of Education as the superintendent?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, that is all cleared up now.
I've never closed a school.
That was another guy, another time.
That's right.
So, we were just talking about relationships, and you mentioned relationship with other law enforcement around the county, and also relationship with the county commission. And during the break, I was saying that I thought one thing that kind of goes hand in hand with that is transparency, not only of what would be your department if you're elected sheriff, but throughout our county system. And I really feel like, at least if you read the keyboard warriors on social media and things like that, there's not a lot of trust. And honestly, in Walker County, I've been covering these things for 30 years now. There's never been a lot of trust with government or, like we go back. I know I've heard you talk about growing up in the late 70s, early 80s. There was some crazy stuff going on during that time,
Yeah, it was crazy. And, I just spoke with a lady that I went to high school with yesterday at an event, and we haven't seen each other in quite some time. And we were talking about that. And people our age and older remember those days. Remember those days when...
when Phil Donahue was talking about us, about being the hometown of getting the easiest hitman.
Yeah, the most affordable.
Yeah,
it was the most affordable.
Yeah.
And, you had that going on, and that was a mystery to people for a long time.
Right.
As to why that was. And... then I think that was also coinciding with when there was just a huge influx in the southern United States as part of the gateway, particularly Florida and Miami and Louisiana for cocaine.
Right.
That's when Pablo Escobar really started pushing hard and was having his big days.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot going on, and people knew, hey. There are people involved in things.
Right.
We just don't know exactly who they are. We think we know, but
right.
we don't know. And the mystery lends to more distrust.
Right.
I remember being told.
But don't you think that transparency is the key? And even with the relationships in different places, I think if each group is more transparent and they're not fighting their fights or bringing up issues like in the newspaper or on the radio and things like that.
Right.
They're talking to each other. Everything's open. They're working things out. That just seems to be the common sense approach of how we get a better recognition from the public,
Absolutely. And, and I don't know if this really lends to transparency. It probably goes back more to your previous question about relationships. But, I would, if, elected sheriff, I would like to have a quarterly meeting with the chiefs from the different municipalities, our judiciary, the judges, and the DA, to make sure that we're all on the same page, and that we're all working together and to deal with any issues, so that we're serving the people better.
But I do think that goes to transparency too, because the people will see you guys working together.
Yes,
and communicating.
Exactly. And I think we don't, being a small area, or I say a small area, it's not like we have an active press out there. We've got some good folks at the newspaper. I mean, they do a good job, but they can only do so much.
Right.
We're not like Birmingham or what have you.
Right.
So a lot of times these things take place, and they may or may not have a representative there.
Right.
And people feel like, well, that was a private meeting, we weren't included. So I think those things have to be taken into account.
Yeah.
And I've gotten some pushback on some things I've said about developing a citizens advisory board. And that's something that it's been kind of with some people, they've tried to make it to seem something that it's not.
Right.
That's something we would have to take our time with and do cautiously and professionally. But I do believe for people, citizens, to know that there's someone who is not under the thumb or in any way beholden to a political office or to what have you, that's laying some eyes on things. That's done all over.
Right.
That is nothing new. That's like, what? We can't do that. Yeah, you can. It's done in a lot of departments.
Right.
Because right now, it's not just here in Walker County. Law enforcement nationwide, there have been over the last several years a lot of friction between citizens, or distrust between citizens and law enforcement. And and I think as a people, we've gotten more and more less trusting of authority. So all these different departments are looking at ways, how can we rebuild our relationship or strengthen our relationship with the public, because you have to have that.
Right.
If you don't have trust, you're starting off 3 steps behind.
Right.
And that's one of the things they've looked at. Town halls are very important to me.
Yeah.
I think you've got to have town halls. You've got to involve the people, let them ask what they want to ask. At the same time, avoid. You don't want to get too deep into the circus. But as far as things getting out of control, but I think that's one thing that can be done. Just having someone present. When I say that, a sheriff or another administrator who will deal with that and talk to the people.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, throughout this campaign, I think the runoff campaign, that is, we mentioned that experience has been a big talking point. Mm-hmm. Speak to that. Speak to your experience compared to your opponent in this, because I think that's something that people continue to say.
Yeah, it's a talking point, particularly with my opponent and his people, and that's fine. That's fine. It's valid. I'm not going to sit here, and I'm not going to say anything about my opponent. That's the campaign that I have tried to conduct has been one of trying to stay positive and look at what needs to be done, and to stay away from the negative, the criticisms and all that. I don't believe that offers the public anything.
Right.
You know, that's been a norm in politics for a while, but I don't think that does anything good for us. Actually, I think it just creates more wounds that need to be healed.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, you know, my opponent does have a lot of experience. There's no doubt about it. Things change, though. Things change. Times change, and time comes for us all.
Right.
It's just a fact. Now, I'm not saying anything by any of that, but you know, I respect the service that my opponent has provided, and respect him. We've had a good relationship. You know, so I mean, I assume he respects me. You know, maybe I'm being too kind to myself.
Yeah.
But no,
Well, and I did even see a post last night from someone who, and they said it initially they liked both of you guys.
Yeah.
And it talked about the way that you guys were interacting with each other at the America 250 event yesterday, and that you know, it was kind of a breath of fresh air to see two people, but then also there could be negative material that came out on the same day. So it's just,
yeah, and that's, you know, that's
and I hate to say it's all part of politics, but that's what politics has devolved to.
you're going to have some of that.
Yeah.
You're going to have some of that. That's just the way it is. I really don't. I think that with most people, they don't like it, because when you get down to it, your average person here in Walker County is a very decent person.
Right.
And they know when someone is stepping over the line, and they know when they are trying to help themselves by tearing someone else down. They get that. So, and I just say that in general for any campaign. So I don't think that is as effective as people might think. It may sway some folks. To me, I look more at the long-term consequences of that kind of stuff. But yes, we anytime where Chief and I have interacted, it's been pleasant. And I've known him from before. I mean, he wasn't a stranger to me by any means.
Right.
So we've always had a good relationship. But you know, honestly, I think number one, I think my business experience helps me. I truly do. I believe my education helps me. You know, I said I wouldn't, and I'm not saying this to put anybody down, I swear.
Right.
But I'm the only person that's been in the race that made it past high school.
Right.
You know, and I'm not trying to like, oh, I'm some great, wonderful thing, because a lot of people go to college.
Right.
But you know, I kind of get dunked on some with some of the other qualifications. I'm like, well, hey, I've got a qualification.
Right.
But and I think that's important for anybody who's going to be the CEO of an organization. I just do.
Right.
But we're different generations. We're two different generations. I believe the experience I have working in the jail for all those years, for being responsible for other officers, for being responsible for other people's lives, there again to dispel some of the things I've seen, because I try to stay away from it. I'll be honest with you. I try to stay away from that stuff. I have had to make life and death decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's normally. I mean, it was not an unusual thing. And, you know, I've said before, I think that speaks to the fact that a lot of people don't know what officers who are working in that jail deal with. They just don't know until something goes wrong.
Right.
And I think that has bred, and there have been some, of course, with anything else, you've had some bad actors.
Yeah.
That has lended to a lack of respect overall from law enforcement and others, because they don't know. And most people don't want to work in that environment.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But thank God somebody does. So you know, dealing with, can I tell a story? Do I have time to tell a quick story? And this is neither here nor there. But I remember back in, was it what year was it Auburn won the national championship? Cam Newton?
Was that like 2010 or so?
Yeah, it was right around
That's
there.
when my son became an Auburn fan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was around that time we had this really bad ice storm came in on a Sunday evening. I remember I was on second shift, and everybody that could got out of Dodge.
Right.
Because they didn't want to be trapped.
They don't want you trapped at the jail.
They didn't want to be trapped at the jail.
Yeah.
And those of us that were not concerned, we knew, hey, we may be here 48 hours, maybe even 72, depending on conditions.
Right.
Because you have to keep that facility staffed.
Yeah.
So, I come walking up in there, and at that time, I had been a full-time officer for maybe a year. And there were all these families in the parking lot, and they were not happy. And I said, what can I do for you? And they said, they've canceled our visitation. I said, really? They said, yeah, they just canceled it. They drove from other parts of the state, different ones.
Right.
So let me go see about this. So I went and I talked to the officer in the control room, and he said, yes, the inmates got kind of smart with me and kind of rude. And I said, that's it. Visitation's over with. These were our federal inmates.
Right.
And federal inmates are just, it's a different situation than it is with state or local inmates, They expect more, and that's something you have to deal with. And some of them are pretty dangerous guys.
Yeah.
And so you're dealing with all kinds of things. So I said, wait a minute, that's not going to work. He said, well, I'm out of here. My shift's over. So, okay, I got somebody else in there because at that time, we didn't have anyone there at that night as far as a sergeant or a lieutenant. They knew they would have enough people working, so they said, hey, I'm not coming in. I don't want to get trapped.
Right.
I get it. You've got the right for that. So I had to go up there because these inmates were getting ready to tear the place apart.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have had, just a really bad deal, and I don't know how quick the help would get there because it's an ice storm.
Right, yeah.
So I had to go up there and talk to those guys, get them calmed down. There was probably 30 or 35 people up there, and get them to trust me in the fact that I would make it right.
Yeah.
I would make it right. And then I went outside, talked with the families. I said, this will be rescheduled. I'm so sorry. We're going to get this done, to keep the temperature down, because they would have been on the phone with the sheriff the next day raising mortal Cain, and then we would have heard from the marshals. So get this under control, And that's what I did. And then, I go in because, unfortunately, so many people with seniority didn't come in. I ended up being the most senior officer on that shift with less than a year's experience. So, we had to make sure everybody got fed. We had to make sure everyone who was under medical care was checked on. Make sure everybody who was in protective custody was checked on every 30 minutes. Deal with any altercations with the inmates, and it goes on and on and on. And it just so happened we had an inmate in I believe it was BK6, and he was a federal inmate, but he was down in our booking area for observation. So I walk over there, and the nurse is just about to leave, and she's trying to catch me up to date. Without being too graphic, this guy, he had injuries, internal injuries, so he had kind of a bag on the side, and I knew about those, but I'd never seen one.
Right.
And unfortunately, the nurse was in such a hurry to get out of there, she miscut what he needed to keep it on there. So I go over there, and he's basically giving me his story. He had a history of harming himself. I mean, this guy would stab himself in the stomach over and over again and do damage to himself. He would, so, and he made it very clear. He said, I'll do that tonight.
Yeah.
He said, because I said, listen, it's going to be okay. Going to work. It's going to be okay. So I was dealing with him, man, back and forth. And some of it were not exactly standard operating procedures, but I knew I have to keep this guy alive, and there's nobody that's going to come help, probably. So long story short, I was there for 48 hours. We kept the lights on, kept everything under control, and got a letter from the U.S. Marshals thanking us because we're the only facility that inmate had never harmed himself. By the way, 2 weeks later, he killed himself in another facility.
Oh my goodness!
So that was just 2 nights or two days there, an example of what I dealt with.
Right.
So.
Well, and I think that you said that you were just asking those guys to trust them, that you would do the right thing. I think that's what you're asking the people of Walker County now, is to trust you, that you'll do the right thing, and to show up to vote on Tuesday, correct?
Absolutely. I had someone tell me, you're the other guy. I'm outside of the system.
Right.
I'm not on the inside. I think people are ready for that. They're ready for some real change in this county. Just like you said, this distrust has been going on for our entire lives.
Right.
And part of that's the nature of the beast. People, for different reasons, are going to have a level of distrust.
And that's not just in Walker County. That's nationwide.
That's nationwide.
Okay.
But I do think we can repair some of that damage and provide a better public face for Walker County. But I don't think it's gonna be business. It's gonna be something where it can be business as usual, and then everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna have to be approached from many different angles, and to do that right, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But that's what folks are hungry for. They're just tired. They're tired of things being the way they are.
Right. One more minute here, just to say. In the runoff, not in the primary election, you finished with 43% of the vote, and JC was just under you. It really showed that the people of Walker County did want to change. Mm-hmm. What can you say though about coming out leading after that race?
Coming
out as the leader, as the person with the most votes.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I try to stay humble.
Right.
And because really and truly, my campaign, we have not had very much money at all.
Right.
To work with, which is I'm glad now, because I don't want to take money from anyone that if they tried to in any way influence me or ask for a favor that I couldn't afford to pay them back.
Right. Yeah.
So that's been good, and it's allowed us to really take it straight to the people, because there was no other choice.
Right.
And we built up a really good base of support. It's from the ground up. It's not top down.
Right.
It's totally from the ground up. And, that also has given me the opportunity to listen to a lot of people and understand what their concerns are, understand what their criticisms are, of not just the department, but of me.
Yeah.
And say, okay, where can we come together on this? So, I had a lot of people tell me they thought it was going to go that way, and I felt like it was possible, but at the same time, I felt like, well, it can go any which way, and whatever way it ends up, I'll be thankful. Whatever God's will is, I'm gonna be thankful that mainly that maybe I've served a purpose.
Yeah.
Someone told me once, they said, you're not called to be successful, you're called to be faithful.
Right.
And that had an impact on me. So I could not be doing this without so many people's help, and without feeling like this is what I'm supposed to do.
Well, I'm going to jokingly say, but also seriously say, I think we'll all be thankful when it's over with after Tuesday.
I can tell you somebody that will. I can tell you somebody.
Well, Jason, thanks for joining us today. I sure do appreciate it. Best of luck coming up in the election. The biggest thing for people listening, go show up, go to the polls, go place your vote on Tuesday of next week, or for whoever your candidate may be. There'll also be a couple of state runoffs on there as well. So be sure to just let your voice be heard. That's our duty as citizens of the United States. Again, thank you for coming in, Jason. Thank you guys for listening all week this week on Live at 9. We'll be back next week with plenty of great guests lined up. Until then, be kind and love, and we'll see you Monday on Live at 9 with James Phillips on WJLX.